Hello everyone, my name is Poofy, and this is Welcome to Elk. Whoa! That beer is seriously giving me some insane dreams. That one made my head hurt, I know, we saw that last time. It looks freezing outside. Yeah, snowstorm. Guess this is what they meant by a cold blast. So happy I brought these merino yarn leggings. Cute. Very cute. So let's take a look at... Wait a minute. Oh? I don't remember those bottles being here. Maybe it's some sort of island tradition? Well, we got bottles. Sue, George, and the bikers. When Anders died? Excuse me? Okay, let's check that one first. Anders lived up in the woods in a trailer that his parents had left his sister Beth and him. Each day he would walk through the woods to the hermit bar when he opened around 12 noon. He would stay until the bar closed, and before going back home, he would buy himself some more beers for the walk. Sometimes, if he felt the night was still young when the bar closed, he would walk to Jan's trailer, no matter how late at night it was, and he would call Jan. Jan, come out and have a beer with me. Often this would only wake up Jan's wife Ingrid, but she would then wake up Jan. Jan, Anders is here. Go have a beer with him. Jan would step out of bed and bring his own beers outside the trailer. Anders only drank Budweiser. Jan would prefer Tuborg. They would drink a few beers and look at the night until Jan would be too tired and go back to bed. Jan never minded getting up in the middle of the night to drink beers with Anders. Guests were always welcome. One day, when Anders was walking home from Jan's, being a bit more drunk than usual, passed out next to the road. This had happened before. Normally he would wake up when either the sun made the sleep too warm, or when the alcohol would leave his blood and he would start to feel the cold in winter. He would get up, and then he would continue his walk home, getting ready for the next day. This time, when the sun came up, Anders did not wake up. Oh dear. He continued to lay next to the road, not moving at all. A few cars passed by, and they didn't pay any attention, as they had seen Anders sleeping next to the road before. But when the sheriff drove past Anders for the second time that day, he got suspicious and stepped out of the car to check if Anders maybe needed a ride home, or to the bar. However, no matter how hard the sheriff tried, he could not wake up Anders. And he also could not find a pulse. So with sadness, the sheriff realized that Anders was not sleeping this time. He picked Anders up, put him in the backseat of the car. The drive to the morgue was quite long and it was starting to get dark. It was not the first time the sheriff drove one of his citizens like this to the morgue. They were all good people up there, but tough lives and the heavy use of alcohol often made them leave the woods this way. The sheriff was in his own thoughts when he heard a noise from the backseat. "Where the fuck am I?" said Anders with a rusty thin voice. Then he sat up. Wait. The sheriff had been sure Anders had left his world and was quite surprised. But he turned the car around, offered Anders a beer from the glove department, and drove Anders home, relieved that Anders was in fact still alive. So weird. Years later, the sheriff passed by the same spot next to the road. Anders was again lying there sleeping. The sheriff paid no attention, even after the second time he passed by, remembering the time Anders suddenly woke up in his car. But when he saw the body still lying there the day after, the sheriff stopped and stepped out. Anders was cold. There was no pulse. The sheriff could not wake him up. He was still suspicious, so he called the doctor to come visit. The doctor arrived and the sheriff asked him to check if Anders was dead before he would embark on the long drive up to the morgue. The doctor checked Anders and there was no doubt. Anders was dead. Two men lifted Anders into the backseat of the car. The sheriff started the car and drove towards the morgue. When he was almost there, a noise from the backseat broke through the music on the radio, and Anders sat up. "Where the fuck am I?" The sheriff was shocked. Almost lost control of the car before he came to his senses and offered Anders a beer, apologized and drove him home. This is weird. Anders and his sister Beth were sitting at the hermit bar. It was a quiet day. The summer heat has caused the other customers to stay home, so it was only the two of them there. The bartender had gone home and left them the key. Maybe it was the beers, maybe the heat, but suddenly Anders fell from his chair and lay silently on the floor. Beth stepped down to help him, but Anders did not wake up. Beth knew her brother very well, and she was in no doubt her dear brother was dead. Beth was a bit worried, as she had paid for all the beers they had that morning. Anders would always pay her back. He was the only person she would lend money for beer. She trusted him. She needed the money back. She was always low on money. Life is hard sometimes. Beth looked around the bar, and all was still silent and no one was around. She reached for the pocket in Anders' vest, but there were no coins. Only his checkbook. She took it, went around the bar counter to find a pen, looked over the bar once just to be sure Anders was still dead. She then wrote a check from Anders to herself, just enough to cover for a few months of rent and a nice funeral for her brother. She then checked one extra time that Anders was dead, left the hermit bar to get Jan and the sheriff. All three of them drove Anders to the morgue. There was silence in the car all the way there. Not even Anders was talking. Beth made sure to tell Jan and the sheriff that her brother had even left her some money in case he should pass away, always looking after his dear sister. Everyone knew that losing Anders was tough on Beth. Siblings had always been close. That guy died like 4 times? That's exit, okay. Should we... Oh, this is a shorter one. Sue, George, the bikers? It was before George went to prison, when Sue and him were still young. They were each other's best friends and siblings too. The two of them would spend most days hanging together at the hermit bar. They did not have much else to do other than drink and play cards with the rest of the people here. Sue and George looked tough, would sometimes get themselves into trouble. Not because they wanted to, but because getting by in life meant sometimes doing things that would result in local police attention. In general, they were good people, helpful to their friends, and George was even a bit of a romantic. If they were ever fighting, it would only be with each other, when really drunk, and mostly because of playing darts. In those situations, their friends would stay away and leave them to it, because both were strong and fearless when fighting and no one wanted to get caught in their crossfire. One day, a group of bikers arrived at the hermit bar, and the bikers made a lot of noise when parking. You could hear they were drunk, and people at the bar instantly got the feeling that the bikers weren't there to make any friends. The mood at the bar immediately shifted when the bikers entered. Everyone tried to make themselves look invisible. No one was in doubt that the bikers were there looking for a good fight, and no one at the hermit bar thought fighting the bikers would be particularly fun. Sue and George did not take much notice of the bikers, and they continued their card game, which clearly provoked them. One of the bikers tipped over one of the guests' beer, so it smashed against the wooden floor with a loud crash and splash. Sue and George stood up from the table, while the bikers started walking towards them, of course with the boss in front. The guests at the bar started to liven up a bit, excited to see what Sue and George would now do. The biker boss picked up a bottle, tossed it from hand to hand, inviting Sue and George to take the next step. "Be careful," George said. "I think he might well hit you with that bottle, Sue." Sue quickly also grabbed a bottle from the bar, looked at George and said, "I wonder if that would hurt." And then without blinking, Sue smashed the bottle against her own head, shattering it, whiskey running down her face. Smiling, nope, didn't feel a thing. The biker boss silently put his bottle back on the table. One by one, the bikers all sheepishly left the hermit bar. Excuse me, this is... Whoa. Someone wrote some kind of story about what happened the other night. Weird, but kinda cool. It is weird. I got 2 achievements out of it though. Oh boy. That took some time. Wow. It all looks so different. It does. The painting is covered up. That's not open. So, Should we leave our door open? I guess so. Who cares anyway? Can we do anything with... No, it's all closed down. Everything is closed down. Even the flag is white. Morning there, Frigg. Getting some of that cold fresh air in you? Hi, yeah, wow, fresh is one way of putting it. Yeah, well, you'll get used to it soon enough. Actually, it's good I bumped into you. Jan's out running an errand right now. So why don't you keep me company? It's my morning off and I want a nice thick coffee at the Hermit. Oh well, that sounds lovely. Sure. Do I not need to work? Oh, it's a school. Elk School. So everything happens at the bar, eh? Honey, let's get you out of this cold. Can't wait for that coffee. Okay, let's go into the Hermit Bar. Good morning, Bobby. 2 of your strongest coffees, please. All ready at the stove, hon. Nice. You two managed to keep warm then? Standing on that pier all day with that wind howling? This cold is like a tickle. Ha! We ain't all born of the sea like you are, Ingrid. What about you, Frigg? I won't lie. It's gonna take some getting used to. But wow, the snow sure is pretty... Whoa. But wow, the snow sure is pretty though, right? Somehow my brain's really tough. Aha, I'll hold you to that, hun. Has anyone seen Jeppe? Beth, you okay? Where's your coat? You're shaking, hun. You must be freezing. You don't understand. He didn't come home last night. Okay, take a deep breath. Bobby, can you bring Beth some coffee? Frigg, come on. Me and you will go out and take a look. No man should be sitting out in this weather. I'm coming too. Beth, hun, you're catching a cold. I ain't sitting still. He's in trouble, I know it. Okay, I get you, hun. I'll stay here to let the others know, and just in case he shows up. Thanks. Oh, Jeppe? Okay, we gotta find him. I can't lose him. Come on then, let's get moving. The quicker the better. Alrighty then. What's going on? Jeppe's boat is still on the dock and I can't find the tractor. Jeppe's missing. Didn't show up at Beth's last night after drinking. Uh-oh. This doesn't sound good. Okay, let's get looking. Wait. Jan, where's Freddy? Don't you worry, she's out in the snow with Sue. She's safe, I promise. Okay, good. Thanks. God. Okay, let's go. Let's spread out and look. This is kinda eerie, isn't it? Yeah, there's some tracks here. This looks like car tracks? That'll be the tractor, alright. But where's it gone to? Nobody knows, but I saw some more tracks there. Like here. Oh, like here. Okily dokily. This house is broken. That's the old boutique. Okie dokie.